Nice to see you, Madam Chai. I have rented out a property to my friend. We have signed a tenancy agreement, and we are wondering if we need to pay stamp duty on this agreement. What do we need to know about stamp duty on leases? Sure, let me explain. First, stamp duty is payable on documents relating to leases of immovable properties in Singapore, such as 1. Lease or tenancy agreement to let or sublet the entire property or part of a property such as a room in an HDB flat. 2. Agreement to renew or extend the lease. 3. Agreement for variation of lease or supplemental agreement if there is an increase in rental or the lease period is extended as compared to the existing lease. 4. Acceptance to the letter of offer. 5. Surrender of lease with payment. 6. Novation or assignment of lease with payment. 7. Any written agreement pertaining to property leases. Now I understand that we need to pay stamp duty on our tenancy agreement. May I also understand what is a surrender of lease and a novation or an assignment of lease? A surrender of lease is a document where a tenant surrenders the unexpired lease term of a lease that he has entered into with the landlord. A novation or an assignment of lease is an agreement that transfers the tenancy rights from the original tenant to a new tenant. Thanks, Madam Chai, for the clear explanation. May I know who is the party liable to pay stamp duty? Here's a summary on the type of documents and the party liable. I see. So how is the stamp duty computed, and what are the lease duty rates? Stamp duty on leases is payable based on the actual rental of the market rental, whichever is higher at the lease duty rates. However, for surrender of lease, stamp duty is payable on the payment made by the landlord to the tenant. For novation or assignment of lease, stamp duty is payable on the payment made by the new tenant to the original tenant or the market value of the leasehold interest transferred, whichever is higher, at the buyer's stamp duty rates. Stamp duty on leases includes other considerations such as payments for advertising and promotion charge, furniture or fittings charge, maintenance charge, service charge, and any other charges excluding GST charges. The computation of lease duty varies according to the lease period. If the lease period is 4 years or less, stamp duty is 0.4% of the total rent for the period of the lease. For example, let's say that you put your flat up for a 3-month lease. You are charging a rent of $3,000, excluding GST, for the first and second month, and a rent of $4,000, excluding GST, for the last month, and a maintenance charge of $250 per month. In total, your total rent would be $10,750. Hence, the lease duty would be 0.4% of $10,750, or $43. Your tenant would have to pay the stamp duty amount for this lease. Now, if the lease period is more than 4 years, then stamp duty is 0.4% of 4 times the average annual rent, AAR, for the period of the lease. Oh, what is AAR? The average annual rent, or AAR, refers to the higher of the average annual contractual or annualized market rent. Let me illustrate through an example. Suppose you are leasing your flat at these monthly rates for 5 years. Please note that if the AAR does not exceed $1,000, then there is no need to pay stamp duty for the lease. The total rent for this lease would amount to $151,200. The AAR for this lease would then amount to $30,240. 4 times of the AAR would amount to $120,960. Hence, the lease duty would be 0.4% of $120,960, or $483, which is rounded down to the nearest dollar. I see. Thanks for letting me know about this, Madam Chai. It was my pleasure, Amy. Take care and all the best with renting out your flat. Now let's have a summary of what we've discussed so far. Stamp duty would have to be paid for documents relating to leases of immovable properties in Singapore. It is computed based on the actual rental or the market rental, whichever is higher, at the lease duty rates. The computation of lease duty varies according to the lease period. For more information on stamp duty, please refer to our website.